Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well today. In the previous session, we have learned some basic information about ReactJS. We have installed the required applications and we have started our first project in the previous session. Now here in the session 2, we try to learn a little bit more. Starting with, we will try to learn about the nesting components in ReactJS. Nesting components in React. React apps are made out of components. A component is a piece of UI, otherwise called as user interface, that has its own logic and appearance. A component can be as small as a button or as large as an entire page. React components are JavaScript functions that return markup. Here you can see we have declared a function myButton. We have used the function keyword and we have named our function myButton. If you observe carefully, the name of the function myButton starts with capital M and capital B. This is called as a camel casing. Every function in React returns a functionality. Here we have created a button and the name of a button is I'm a button. Closely observe the entire function. We have used the braces and curly braces. Let's run this in the Visual Studio and see the output. In the Visual Studio Code, the app which we have created in the first session, open the source folder and choose app.js file. Remove all the code which is present in the app.js file and write this new function. Then move to the terminal window and type npm start. Wait for a couple of seconds. In the default browser, you can see I'm a button. Now that we have declared a my button, we can nest it in another component. Notice that my button start with a capital letter. That's how you know it's a React component. React component names must always start with a capital letter, while HTML tags must be in lowercase. Now let's run this and see how the output looks like. In the terminal window, type npm start and hit enter. In the output, we can see the text welcome to my app and the button I'm a button. This is an example of nesting components in React. In the function myApp, the export default keyword specify the main component in the file. If you are not familiar with some piece of JavaScript syntax, please check MDN docs and javascript.info. They have a great references. The markup syntax you are seeing here is called as JSX. It is optional, but most of the React projects use JSX for its convenience. All of the tools we recommend for local development support JSX. JSX is stricter than HTML. You have to close the tags like BR. Your component also can't return multiple JSX tags. You have to wrap them into a shared parent like div or an empty fragment wrapper. Now let's discuss conditional rendering in React. In React, there is no special syntax for writing conditions. Instead, you will use the same techniques as you use when writing regular JavaScript code. For example, you can use an if statement to conditionally include JSX. This is an example code snippet to make you understand how conditional rendering looks like in React. We have declared a variable called as content by using a keyword let. It will be much easier for you if you are familiar with basic JavaScript. Just imagine that there is a website where it has a login page. After successful login, we enter into admin panel. After declaration of variable, we have declared an if statement. This code snippet is just an example. In the future sessions, we will build a project where we use a login form and reach the admin panel or the dashboard. If you prefer more compact code, you can use conditional ternary operator. Ternary operator is a question mark. In the code snippet number 2, we have wrapped the syntax in div tag. Inside the div tag, we have written is logged in, then reach admin panel, or else go back to login form. Here we used a question mark for if and a colon for else. When you don't need the else branch in a if statement, you can also use a shorter logical AND expression. This is also called as short circuit operator. All of these approaches also work for conditionally specifying attributes. If you are unfamiliar with some of the JavaScript syntax, you can start by always using if-else. Now let's discuss about lists in React and how we render lists. You will rely on JavaScript features like for loop and array map function to render lists of components. For example, let's say you have an array of products. Here we have declared a variable products with const. The array of products has a title and an ID. These are a list of vegetables. Inside your component, use map function to transform an array of products into an array of list items. As you can see in the code snippet, we have declared a new variable const list items, and we have assigned the list items to the products array which we have declared in the previous example. Then we have used dot notation and map function. We have mapped products to product and then started an arrow function. We have declared a list. In the list, we have given a key and we have assigned product.id and product.title. And then we have closed the list tag. So the variable list items is a list. To the list items, we have assigned the products array. Then by using map function, we have converted products array to a product. From the product, we have started an arrow function, and then we have declared a list. Products have become product, and the product is now a list. And in the list, we use key and assign product.id and product.title. I'm explaining this for the second time because so that you get a better understanding. As we declared a function here, so we have a return statement. So this function returns the list items. It's an unordered list. Closely observe the syntax and follow the same. Notice how list has a key attribute. For each item in a list, you should pass a string or a number that uniquely identifies that item among its siblings. Usually, a key should be coming from your data, such as database ID. React uses keys to know what happened if you later insert, delete, or reorder the items. Closely observe the syntax and the entire code snippet. First, we have declared a variable products by using a keyword const, and it is an array. Inside the products array, we have declared title is fruit and ID. For the title, we have given the names of the vegetables, and we have declared a boolean expression which is fruit, and we have declared ID which is of numbers. Then from line 7, we have declared a function which is called as shopping list. Then we have created a variable which is list items with const keyword. Then we have converted the products array to a list by using map function. Now the products array is a list. And in the list, we have declared key and assigned product ID. We have also declared CSS here by declaring style with 2 curly braces. And we have given color to the products. In the CSS, we have declared a if statement. If the product is a fruit, then the color shall be magenta, else it will be dark green. Then we have closed the CSS and we have declared product.title and closed our list. And at the end, we are returning the list items. The list items is an unordered list. It will be much easier for you if you have a basic knowledge in HTML and CSS. Let's run this and see the output, how it looks like. So this is the entire code. We have written the entire code in the app.js file. What I suggest is like you can write the entire code by yourself so that you'll have a very good practice. Now let's run this code and see the output. Go to the terminal window and type npm start. In the default browser, our app starts. Here you can see the vegetables are in green color and the apple is a fruit which is in magenta color. This is the if statement which we have declared in the styles CSS inside our list. Moving further, now let's learn on responding events in React. You can respond to events by declaring event handler functions inside your components. This is one of the best example to explain about event handling. In this example, we have declared a function which is called as myButton, and inside this we declared another function which is called as handle click. The handle click function has an alert which says you clicked me. Alert is a function which is predefined in React. When we use this, we get an alert message on the top of the window of our application. Then we have a return functionality. In the return, we have declared a button, and then we have assigned an event to the button. The event is onClick. The onClick event returns to handleClick function. HandleClick function is nothing but it's an alert which says you clicked me. And later we have named the button as click me, and then we have closed the button. Next we have declared one more function, myApp, and in this function we are returning myButton function. Now let's run this and see how it looks like. You need to run the same way how we did in the previous example. I hope you remember. In the default browser, our app has been successfully launched and we have a button, and the name of the button is click me. And when we click on the button, we get an alert which says you click me. This is one of the good examples about event handling in React. Now let's discuss about one of the most important functionality in React. And it is not only function, but it is also a hook in React. And it is called as use state. First, import the use state from React. We will use import and curly braces. Inside the curly braces, we type use state and followed by from React. After importing the use state from React, we declare a function, and the name of the function is myButton. If you observe, we have declared a state variable inside our component. It's an const array which has count and set count, and this const has been assigned to useState. You will get two things from useState: the current state count and the function that lets you update set count. You can give them any names, but the convention is to write something, comma, something. The first time the button is displayed, count will be 0 because we pass 0 to useState. When we want to change, we call set count and pass a new value to it. Clicking this button will increment the counter. We have declared one more function called handle click, and we used set count and we used count and increased with +1. Then we have a return statement, and in the return we have a button. The button has an event which is called as onClick, which goes back to handle click function. The name of the button is clicked times. In between the name of the button, we used count to display the count. Then we have closed the button. Now let's see how our button works in the output. As we click on, the count increases because we have declared set count as count +1. There was no error and the button is increasing its count, as you can see. If you render the same component multiple times, each will get its own state. Click each button separately and observe the difference. Observe the syntax carefully and follow the same. At the top of the code snippet, we have declared function myApp and we have rendered my button 2 times. Let's run and see the output here. It takes a while to open in the default browser. There was no error and we can see 2 buttons. And each button displays its individual count. If we click the first button, it displays the separate count and the same for the second one as well. You can try it by yourself. Thanks for your valuable time. If you have any doubts, please mention in the comments. We will continue learning React in the next session with more concepts. Have a good day ahead.